I talk a lot about freedom hiking. Just for a day, put away all technology and just walk. Hi, I'm Rambunny or Bunny. I grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I was in a wild Girl Scout troop, and the majority of my enjoyment was church camp and Girl Scout camp and camping out, hiking.
Is Girl Scouts what got you into hiking?
Yeah, pretty much.
When did you hear about the Appalachian Trail for the first time?
In 8th grade.
You remember how it came up?
A ranger or a park person came in a uniform, brought a pup tent and a map, and talked in the auditorium. And I can tell you everything about that, but I can't tell you anything else about 8th grade.
Oh, really? Did you decide then that you were going to hike it?
Oh, I poked the Girl Scout next to me and said, I'm going to do that.
How long after that did you hike it?
I was in my 40s. I had raised my children, and life kind of blew up, and I saw it as an opportunity.
Tell me about your planning to do it.
Oh, that went on for years. I did section hike after section hike, tested equipment, read everything I could get my hands on, incessantly bored people to death with trail talk and maps. And I went to a gathering, which is an all-day event that happens pretty much after everybody's northbound hike. And I took with me a 3-ring binder, and I could tell you what I was having for breakfast each day. And I went to the restroom, and the people that just finished the hike were poring over it, laughing until they were crying.
Tell us a little bit about the gear you used.
Well, back in the day, we didn't have what we have now. I'm totally amazed, and I'm totally amazed that some of our MacGyvered things have become improved and convenient now. Back then I hiked in Skechers men's sneakers.
Wide toe box, right?
Right. Now we have women's shoes with great toe boxes and good stitching. Back then we didn't.
What were your big 3?
I got rid of my tent and just used my rainfly and a piece of Tyvek as my ground cloth.
Your first hike?
Yeah.
Cool.
I sewed mosquito netting around the bottom so I could raise it in the summer and have ventilation.
Wow. Did you sleep in a lot of shelters?
Not really.
No.
If there was a storm, I'm a shelter rat, yeah. But for the most part, no. I like solo camping.
What did you use as your backpack?
Dana Design back then had a small leader. I think they became Mystery Ranch. And they focus now more on a Western approach, a Ray Jardine type hiking, which is where the umbrella came from, and that sort of thing is from Western hiking. Dana, I took off her brain. She weighs, I think, almost 2 pounds. I cut straps off. She's definitely been cannibalized. But she has lasted 10,000 miles and is ready to rock and roll at any time, so.
So that was pretty ultralight for that time.
Yeah, very.
What did you use as a sleeping bag or sleeping pad?
I went from a 2-pound sleeping bag to a pound a down, one of the first ultralight ones that were out there. It was a Western Mountaineering.
Wow. That's a big company now, too.
Uh-huh. They're very reliable. Yeah.
How about a pad?
Thermarest. That's all we had.
Blow up? Or?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Do you still have it?
Yes.
Yeah. How many times have you hiked the trail?
From Georgia to Maine 3 times. A lot of section hikes. From Maine to New York once. I quit counting at 10,000.
Nice. And one of them was a yo-yo, is that correct?
I was trying for a yo-yo.
Gotcha.
And I got Lyme disease in Pennsylvania and wasn't diagnosed till Maine.
Oh my.
So turning around and going back wasn't an option.
Now, are there any stories that you could tell?
There are so many.
Will you pick one and tell us about it?
Oh my. The one that comes to mind, which is probably really it's just funny, if you know Baltimore Jack, or you knew him, or you know Blister Sister, at trail days that year, we were all hiking, and Blister Sister put a dead possum roadkill inside Baltimore Jack's backpack, which he was using as a pillow. In the morning, we had a blood-curdling scream, and here comes Jack with the possum. And he had to take his backpack to the car wash, and it was a big ordeal. Well, anyway, the gathering, which I mentioned before, is usually at the end of a northbound hike. We're all camping, and we hear this blood-curdling scream. And he had set up a dead possum with a cigarette in its mouth and a sign that said Blister Sister's latest conquest, and put it inside her tent.
Did you find a lot of that on trail?
A lot of fun. You can see a lot of fun. The trail magic and the silly moments where you become a 3-year-old again, just are precious, and those are the good ones.
I forgot to ask you, how did you get your trail name?
I'm an Aries, and I used to go like an Energizer bunny. The first year I was Ram Bunny, and second year I was Ms. R Bunny, which the R changed every day from reticent, running, reverend, whatever. And then the third year, I dropped it to Bunny. I didn't want to be one of those obnoxious repeat offenders that tell everybody what to do, and and then I was caretaker at East Andover, Maine with Honey and Bear, so it just naturally became Honey and Bunny,
Do you miss it?
Yes,
Through hiking?
every day.
Yeah. Do you think you'll ever do it again?
The possibility is never off the table.
Yeah. So you still dream about it?
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. So what were the differences between each time you through hiked it?
The weather.
The weather.
The people.
Did you have a tramily, as they call it now?
We didn't have that back then. The only time we had that, really, in my experience, was in the Smokies, where they make you stay together.
Huh.
And some people did continue together after that point. But at the point I was at northbound, there were 12 to 20 people at the shelters.
Wow.
So it wasn't a pleasant experience for me.
Right.
And I was injured the first year, and I really didn't want to hear you need to see a doctor and all that business.
And how did you injure yourself?
Running.
Running?
Being stupid.
On trail?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Downhill.
You kept going?
Mm-hmm.
Did you heal along the way, or?
I had to have physical therapy when I came back the first time. Yeah.
Huh. Do you still keep in touch with some people you hiked with?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When I went through breast cancer recently, the people who came and took care of me were my trail brothers and sisters from all over the country.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So the camaraderie on trail is
Oh, yeah.
lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
I hear that a lot. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of their trail names?
Fossa, Silver Fox, Scoop, Karma, Split End, Queen. I could go on and on and on and on.
Now you've owned a hostel, correct?
Yes, we had a hostel for 4 years in Atkins when there weren't any hostels around here.
And now you're the director of the Marion.
Very
the
gladly.
manager. Yeah.
Very gladly.
So how has it changed in those 20 years? Like, what differences do you see in hikers coming through?
I think that with the technology, you can get 500 miles without knowing anything. And I think that's a disadvantage to some hikers. I talk a lot about freedom hiking. Just for a day, put away all technology and just walk. Stealth camp. When you're tired, put up your tent.
Love that.
Just make sure you have water. That's all you got to do.
So what are some things you think hikers should learn before they do it to be able to put down their phone completely?
I wish I could give each person at Springer or Katahdin my feeling from the second hike. When you have your first hike, the end and the date are always in your mind. Each successive through hike, I got less and less in touch with that.
So you're more about the moment.
Right.
Did you have little goals, or was it just day by day? The night before, did you figure out where you were going to go, or do you just hike?
The only time I did that was when we were going into town, and I would make my resupply list beforehand, because otherwise you'd go nuts and carry 20 pounds out.
Speaking of resupply, what were the types of things that you ate?
Oh, ramen, and every variation. Ramen with peanut butter and hot chili peppers.
What was your favorite meal?
That was it, with mashed potatoes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was
ramen
it.
bomb kind of thing?
Yeah.
Cool.
I still eat it.
Nice. Ramen bomb for dinner every once in a while. That's great.
I was not a weenie on weight when it came to, and I don't think you can be if you do successive through hikes. You have to have some fresh food, and the more you through hike, the less you stay in town. So you hit the grocery store and you don't mind carrying that apple out of there, or 6 eggs. I carried a small fry pan and I would do scrambled eggs, or take hard-boiled eggs out of town, or a big French loaf hanging out of my pack. Or
What kind of stove did you have?
I started with a Svea. I think she was 2-pound brass.
Oh my.
Yeah, I was so proud of her until she blew up at Gooch Gap Shelter. Almost caught the forest on fire. Then I went to a beer can stove.
Did you have a food bag? Did you hang your food every night?
No. I slept with it under my head.
Really?
Except for 3 times in 10,000 miles. Now, I would not advise that now. I think COVID has changed things with the bears and their relationship with the trail. And I don't think right now I would take that risk again.
If you were to hike it again, would you hang, or would you bring a bear can or a bear bag?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I've thought about it a lot, and I'm
Undecided.
still not sure.
Would you keep the same gear you have?
Oh, I'd have a quilt and a New York heartbeat.
Yeah. What kind? Have you thought about what kind, or?
I like the one you have down there.
Yeah, there you go.
What is it, a Rumples?
Oh, there's the Rumples, but the quilts that are hanging.
Yeah.
Enlightened Equipment and
Enlightened,
Jets
that's
are
the
better.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are amazing.
Yeah.
How about a tent, hammock? Would you switch at all?
I would love someone to build me my old Rainfly. It was a 3-person Summer Moon Sierra design.
They don't make it anymore?
No.
Of course you added
but it was a dome.
Oh, wow.
And I carried 1 pole and then secured a rock with a string and put it on a bush or a tree to pull it out.
Why do you think they stopped making something like that?
I think people went to the lighter,
Smaller, lighter material.
what is the material that first came out ultralight on the tents? I had a Brawny I tried on the 4th through hike.
Sopoly or something like that?
Yeah. And I tried it. I loved the design. I loved everything about it, except it was raining inside every day. There was no ventilation at all in it.
Oh, because of that.
And starting in Maine that year, I learned that real early.
Oops.
And I took the first Go Light ultralight pack with me, which it ripped on Katahdin.
Oh, right away, huh? Or the last day?
The first day.
So you were heading south.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you go back
I had
to Dana?
my journal's funny that year. I got back all my equipment one at a time.
Oh, really? Back to the original stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing that those things have lasted so long. I never hear that.
Yeah.
So,
you take care of them, they do.
I've heard good things about Mystery Ranch. And
yes.
That's where
he was. Yeah. I still am intrigued with his Western idea of just the bags, like your food bag, your sleep system, your,
I'll have to bring
with
those
no
in.
shell.
What's your favorite thing about working in a hostel now?
I like working in this hostel.
Okay.
And I really had the pleasure of working with Honey and Bear in East Andover for a year. And so I think I bring the old school, I want it clean. What do I want when I hit a hostel? Most of the time I had to clean the bathroom before I could use it.
Wow.
And the one thing that we really focus on here is providing what you need, treating you like an adult, respecting your space, and you can guarantee it's going to be clean.
We keep hearing it's the cleanest hostel on the trail.
I'm going for that award.
You deserve it completely. Yeah. So you talked a little bit about cancer.
Yes.
And what kind of cancer did you have?
I had breast cancer, and there was some intestinal. Third of my colon's gone. I shattered my left leg in 2015 and had to relearn how to walk. That took a year and a half.
And you've made it through the cancer, correct?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Hallelujah. God is good.
Hallelujah. What did you do to your foot?
I attempted, after being told I wouldn't ever walk again, I have a wonderful section hiker that I go everywhere with, and we went up north, and I decided to climb Mount Musalaki without my knee braces.
Oops.
Which had nothing to do with the accident. My foot got caught in flooding water, cold water, and I didn't feel that it was stuck between two rocks, and my body went forward and my ankle did not.
Oof.
But no metal, so
Good.
I can heal.
Absolutely. We'll finish off with, what advice would you give someone who's considering hiking the trail?
Relax. Enjoy the South. Take your time. Whether you're north or south, take your time in the South. It's cheaper, it's friendlier.
How many miles a day would you say to hike?
I'd say an average that's great after you leave here, if you're northbound, is 15.
15? After you leave Marion?
Yeah.
Yeah. So after 500 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're consistently doing 15 a day, you're doing great.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell AT hikers or people?
Happy trails and stay at Marion.
That's right. Come to Marion Outdoors and stay at the Marion.
We also treat sectioners very special.
Absolutely.
You want to do your own, get some instant lemonade, baking soda, peroxide.